Hi there! Guess who? That's right, Nick Dutch back on the camera again for the first tarot reading show straight after the Christmas and New Year break, or midwinter holidays, or winter solstice, or whatever it is you want to call it, okay? I hope you've all had a wonderful time and everyone is feeling rested and relaxed and much more human and happy as a result of having spent a bit of time away from work and spending more time with those you love and those you care for. Okay, it can be a very trying time for lots of people, and you know that is one of the reasons why this tarot show is here. Yes, on this particular YouTube channel I do tarot readings, okay? So, you know, we can just go straight to today's tarot deck and we can see basically what's coming through. I'm going back to the good old-fashioned traditional Book of Thoth Tarot for today, and hope that, you know, we can start to get some really cool insight for everybody who's out there. Alright, now, the purpose of having a tarot reading, the way that I see it, is to get another perspective, just to have another human being discussing your problems with you. Legally speaking, tarot readings are regarded as an entertainment service, and that's for a very good reason, because basically you are still, no matter what, the person who is in charge of your own life, and this is something you must never ever 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 forget under any circumstances. So you can see this as a conversation, you can see this as like a form of counselling therapy if you wish, you can see it as a way of getting an extra form of perspective, but that's essentially the kind of light which I feel that you should see this kind of work, okay? Now, as I say, we're using the Book of Thoth Tarot. I use it mainly for the work which I do live over the telephone and over the internet, because I mentioned on the Psychic and Soul TV channel on Sky 885. I'm one of the off-screen readers there. I also work on Keen.com, I also work on Liveperson, and I'm also available on Kooma, Cards of Fortune, and a few other cool respected British psychic lines. And I'm also available for party hire in and around the South Midlands area for those who are interested in having the wonders of a psychic or a tarot reader in your party or entertainment event for your friends, family, colleagues, and all the rest of that. That's just a bit of shameless self-promotion from me there. But anyway, I want to just crack on with the readings today. We got a fair few to go through. There's more coming through. If you want to be included, if you want your reading request to be included, send me through a private message on this YouTube account, which is Nick Dutch Tarot, all one word, all lowercase, okay? And I'll be more than happy to help and oblige and try and bring you the kind of clarity that you may be after. Alright, well, the first reading today is from Kim. He's got a very complex relationship situation, and so we're going to have a quick look at that and basically see what kind of things is coming through. As is traditional, I'm shuffling like mad. I don't prime the readings, I don't, you know, I don't fake them. The cards which turn up are the cards which turn up, and I just tell you basically what I can see. I did have someone making a comment that they had a different interpretation as to what stave signs meant, but it's not quite that rigid. If you're a good tarot reader, you don't just read based upon the symbolism and the mythology of each and every single card. I mean, let's say this one here, I've pulled it out at random, it's the Eight of Staves, okay, and it's got quite a few bits of symbolism in it. Alright, could you naturally say that this is a fire sign? Does it look like a fire sign? What else has it got in it? It's got a rainbow in it. Okay, what does a rainbow mean? If you think about your biblical myths, you'll know that the rainbow can mean forgiveness. Alright, so it's not necessarily purely connected to the energy of fire. There's also the symbol of Mercury in the corner, so there's healing there as well. There's prismic images in the middle as well. That can speak about transformation or changing or splitting things down into their raw components and trying to understand things in a deeper way, okay? So there's more than one meaning to a card. There's more than one meaning to a suit. There's more than one meaning to a major arcana card and all the rest of that. And you've got to develop a very deep and personal interpretation of the cards. And then, when you're doing readings, to actually use them as a springboard for your own intuition. That's the way it seems to work with me anyway. Anyway, let's crack on with the reading for Kim and see basically what's coming through for her today. Just bear with me a second, please. Okay. Now, the question was quite simple. Basically, is it going to work out? Alright, well, in the here and now part of the reading, yeah, there is a sense of moving towards a new level of responsibility without the shadow of a doubt, but in what particular way does that responsibility come through? When I laid out the cards, the Lovers turned up reversed. Maybe that's a question of reversal of fortune. It's difficult to say. On your partner's side of things, yes, we do have loving signs there. We also got a sense of mutual agreement, which is also very, very good and very, very positive. But what else do we have here? On your side of things, we've got the Major Arcana, which is labelled as art, which I often see as a desire to try and get cooperation. But that seems to be tempered with a sense of very deep power and deep passion. And also a feeling that there may be someone else you're interested in. So from your side of things, I would say that maybe there is someone else that you would actually rather be with to a certain degree. So it's actually feeling basically not quite as clear cut as you might have anticipated. Now if we expand the reading further forward, okay, now it's looking really rather intriguing. The feelings I'm getting are actually relatively negative, because he's got the love for you, but he's also got a feeling of standoff and distance. And I'm rather curious as to why you might have that feeling of distance there. And on your side of things, it appears that you've got an interest in someone else or something else, which is probably going to affect the way that the whole dynamic is going to work and going to operate. Short-term future, anything up to 3 months from now, looking quite positive, looking quite loving. That's a very good strong cup sign there. But it's also talking about your side of the reading. It's a strong female sign. It's talking about your own desires. And so I feel that in this particular case, maybe because of the passion and the desire for cooperation, which he's not reciprocating, which is creating a feeling of distance, it's actually, at this present point in time, a question of you trying to manifest your own results, rather than necessarily the results you might want for the whole relationship. So you've got to bear that in mind. And he's not really reacting very, very well. It's getting a bit more tense. Now, the Major Arcana card labelled as Lust. I have a few issues with it sometimes, because sometimes it can speak about a desire to achieve something, but not necessarily being able to get there, and therefore a feeling of tension building up inside you. And that tension can have some bad results. Longer term future, not looking very good. Okay, so in this particular reading, I would say that you've got some serious challenges to overcome before you can make it work out right. I mean, the foundation is in place. There's some good loving signs there. There's a good sense of potential for responsibility, but it could go either way at this present point in time. My impression is that there's a few other issues from the past which need to be put to rest and put into perspective first, prior to this taking off as a proper relationship, basically. The progression into the future is suggesting a bit of give and take, but also, why would we have signs of treachery at the very end? Now, prophecy is about probability, so although I'm giving you a negative reading, and okay, quite a negative one, I would say that the negative prognosis could in fact be overturned or overridden on the basis that you actually go back into the past of the relationship and try and work out what's gone wrong and actually try and discuss matters. This is a relationship which needs counselling to work out right. So, although you're not married, it might be worthwhile, once you got a bit stronger during the first 3 months of this particular year of 2011, it might be worthwhile even going to a marriage guidance counsellor to try and tease out a few problems and a few issues, to try and bring yourselves closer together and try and drudge up some of that deep stuff which has been holding you guys back. I think that would actually be quite productive for you. So a bit of give and take, a bit of trying to find out where the problems really lie will be what's necessary in order to make this one work out right. So I'm sorry to give you a negative reading today, but I would say that, you know, there's things which have to be dealt with here. Okay? Let's get on with the next one. Okay, now we've got Mercury Rising 777 who wants a general reading. I don't typically do general readings on this particular service, but never mind. Just this once, okay? I'll give you a quick general one based upon the Celtic Cross spread. Typically speaking, I prefer to answer questions. Alright, if you've got specific questions or specific issues, it helps me to focus in just a little bit more and make sure that I can make sure I'm providing you with a service that you actually need, rather than something which I might think that you need. Okay, there's always some form of you know, human elements which can basically get in the way. And yes, you're free to insert your favourite pussy joke here. Okay, here we go. Alright, as I said, based loosely upon the Celtic Cross spread, forces around you in the here and now. Very strong air component, I would say. There's also a feeling of defensiveness and a desire to achieve something which has been slightly outside of your reach for a long period of time. Your inner character is speaking about determination, yes, and there's one particular thing which is on your mind in quite a big way that you want to try and effect a change in, so that you can actually be happy. I think that during this winter time you've been thinking much more about where you want to go and how you want to make your life progress. There's it all feels very down to earth. It all feels very, very much to do with the here and now and material matters, making sure they're in check before you go on to other things, despite the fact there is a desire to improve what appears to be the love aspects of your life. Things you're aware of at the moment, echoing the same kind of signs, the same kind of suits. But also, it's a counterbalance between struggle and strife on one side of things, as well as knowing that the time will come whereby you will be not only happy inside yourself, but you'll be able to valiantly tell other people how wonderful you've done in a wide variety of different situations. You've been holding yourself back. The reflection upon the past is talking about caution and prudence. So you've been trying to be deliberately politically positive and not upset the apple cart. But now you're at a time whereby you don't want to carry on holding yourself back, and now the change is, I know what I want to try and get, and I've got to try and make sure it happens. So the future you're anticipating is a morality focused on your survival, shall we say. I'm not seeing that in a negative light, I'm seeing that in a very positive light, just speaking about willpower, determination, moving your life further forward, and actually really starting to enjoy where you're going to go. Now let's do our short traditional progression, short term, mid term and long term, and see what kind of things is coming through for you. Alright, financial rewards in the short term future, nice, steady, strong, hard working, keeping focused, I like that. Mid-term future, I think you can start to soft pedal the desire to succeed, achieve and survive in the material world and start moving on to something else. Maybe it's a question of a new opportunity in your short-term future which is going to give you the ability to just relax and start focusing on more important things, such as the way in which you get on with your fellow man. I mean, your survival, your career, that's there so that you can feel happy enough to be able to make sure you can start to bring about something of a really positive nature in yourself. Okay, it's a question of personal change. This is being re-echoed further on with very strong romantic signs in the autumn of the year, coming through rather unexpectedly, so probably even from an individual or a type of individual that you had not possibly anticipated building a connection with. But there's also a feeling that that's got to be the right time. 2011, it's got to happen for you. And then finally getting the balance right, because during your short-term future it looks like you're just focusing in on one thing, and that's important. But on the other hand, it can sort of set you out of whack. So the last quarter of the year is much more to do with your own healing times, so that you can try and get the right quality of perspective that you actually need for the rest of your life. Okay, so not a negative reading, but I think it's speaking about a few little speed bumps to get over before you can reach your goals. Okay, Blue Mosaic wants to know whether there is going to be some kind of improvement in their financial situation. Here goes. Still using the same traditional method, combination of tarot and basically anything else that comes through. We'll do a chronological spread, not a Celtic cross spread, and see what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that appear. I'm sure some of you guys out there will be getting rather bored of some of my cliches, but don't worry about that. It's just the way I roll, okay? Okay, excellent signs relating to happiness in your short-term future without the shadow of a doubt. Okay, the short-term future and a 6-card chronological spread covering the year is essentially talking about a 2-month period approximately. And that is essentially short-term future. So maybe let's be pessimistic and say anything up to 3 months from now, you're going to start to see and feel a change, and a change which you're going to really start to enjoy. It's more a question of being sure-footed rather than actually being doing something totally dramatic. Progression through the mid-term future, a little bit more chaotic, I would say, because it's not just a question of just bringing yourself up to a certain level whereby you feel comfortable, but working out where else you want to go from there. And it's only once you've actually started to get that stability back will you have the freedom inside yourself to be able to think about what you want to do with your career, what you want to do with your life, basically. And that's why very strong contemplative signs are coming through in that mid-term future for you. And don't let the resentment and bitterness of not doing too well get to you, okay? The Queen of Swords is a very traditional card, speaking of resentment, possibly even hatred or lack of forgiveness. Now, if you're going through hell, you're going to feel like that. You know, we all do. I've had a time in my life when I was so poor I had to steal to eat, literally, and that gave me an awful lot of resentment and bitterness, okay? But eventually I got over it when things started to get better for me. So as we look further into the future, signs of financial gain and a sense of very strong willpower and determination. So that willpower and determination appears to be being focused upon you, you know, working on yourself, working on your own energy. Will there be a house move? I feel there will be. Probably later on in the year. It does seem to be in this year of 2011. You will get some good inquiries, and I feel that the change will happen. I'm not going to give you a precise time frame on that because I feel that would be inappropriate. I don't want to get up your hopes too high because there's so many complexities about a house move, okay? So don't worry about that too much right now. Focusing on your survival and trying to make sure you get that sense of joy and financial happiness in your short-term future. You know, we all have our short-term, mid-term and long-term future goals, don't we, okay? And if you'd like trip up over your own feet during your short-term future, it could delay the progression for you, you know, for your longer-term future and longer-term future goals. So bear that in mind, all right? And you know, don't just think about, oh, I've got to reach that long-term goal, to the extent whereby you're not focusing in on getting today done as well as you can, all right? And that means up here, that means in the heart, that means in terms of action as well, all right? That's a very important message for you right now. It's going to be one day at a time until you suddenly have that boom feeling of being catapulted onto a new level or a new plane, which you will, you know, you will have that sense of freedom. Okay, so don't be alarmed or concerned. Just realize that the future is around the corner for you, and it's a very good future too. Hello, Natalie. You want me to do a reading on the individual you've come across? Okay, this potential budding relationship, to see whether it's going to emerge into something good. Alright, well, let's just have a quick look for you. Bear with me a second, please. We'll use the 8-card relationship reading, see basically what's going to come through for you, thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that wise. Okay, shuffled like mad already. Let's have a quick look. Alright, this is someone who's got restrictions. They're being held back somehow. There's a sense of there being some kind of disappointment you may have with him as you start to get to know him better. He's not going to be all that forward. Love component's definitely there. He's definitely thinking about you. I think he finds you very attractive, shall we say. Now, signs on your side of things, I think that you've already got the feelings there that things could work out okay, but I feel in this particular case, you're not looking at the logistics of the relationship, and I feel there are logistical problems which could get in the way. That's why we got signs of powerlessness. The Devil card often means forms of powerlessness. It doesn't always mean that. It can actually sometimes even mean marriage. Okay, so you know but in this particular case, because we've got other darker signs around it, namely that sense of disappointment, which does seem to be ebbing away, it feels like you've got to find out more about him first prior to being able to work out how this sort of like complex, and it is a complex, convoluted relationship, could actually work out right. So that's the way it's standing in the here and now. So there's going to be a lot of thought you're going to have to deploy before you can make sure it can work out right. Okay, progression into the future, looking very good. The Moon card, nice. In a relationship reading, what does the Moon card mean? Well, it can mean something of a romantic nature developing within the first 3 months, which is very, very, very good. And there's also signs of there being some more fun and recreation and pleasure later on down the line, something of a frivolous nature, okay? Alright, it's also a sense of turning your life upside down. That can also be either positive or negative, okay? But in this particular case, I feel there's some potential for positivity. Deal with the complexities you will experience in the short-term future first, prior to worrying about whether it's going to turn into a relationship. That would be the best recommendation I could give. Okay? Okay, Charlie Inferno is moving in with her mother in February. Obviously, good luck. I mean, sometimes these can be good things, sometimes it can be bad things. Obviously, you've got lower bills, but on the other hand, you've got like the family complexity going on. Alright, well, let's just have a quick look and see what's coming in there for you. Bear with me a second, please. One thing that's come through to me whilst I'm shuffling is maybe there's something that something else you could be doing, which could actually help the relationship between yourself and your mother in the short-term future, which could make it easier for you to build things up. maybe giving her some candy or some flowers just to make her feel happy, okay? Also, I would say spend a bit more time just relaxing. She's going to say things which are going to be inappropriate, and you're just going to have to be able to deal with that, because she's a caring old woman who's slightly crazy, okay? But let's see what the reading says. To the most part, satisfaction. It's not necessarily joy, it is a feeling of satisfaction, which is really rather good. She does love you an awful lot, despite the fact she tries her hardest not to show it in order to give you the independence that you need. To the most part, stability, very strong earth signs talking about stability in the here and now. That's also very, very positive, and it's going to basically hold you in good stead. This could be the springboard towards something bigger and better for you later on down the line. So use this time productively to try and build yourself a future which is going to work. Okay. Yeah, there's a few feelings of both a confusion between love and the desire to stab each other in the back. But I think you guys can get over that. So there is a schizophrenic issue going on there, you know, that sort of split-minded attitude. But we all have that with members of our family. That's normal, okay? And having arguments is normal, and all the rest of that. Just try your hardest not to cause them. So live a quiet life, and just be dedicated on laying down a foundation for something better. Progression into the future, well, the future's portraying you as someone who can be strong, who can be disciplined, who can also be dedicated towards achieving something amazing with not much in the way of interference. So essentially this is actually quite a positive thing which is going to happen. And I recommend that you go for it, you enjoy it, you behave the best you can with it. Okay, Pet Cirrus wants to know about her relationship with Paul and basically whether it's going to work out okay and so on and so forth. So let's just have a quick look, shuffling like mad as is traditional. Bear with me, 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. I'll try and be as quick as I can. Okay. Alright, great sense of passion coming through. I mean, I've shuffled the cards very thoroughly, but this one's come up yet again. Still some signs of worry and anxiety. The foundation itself has not been laid down properly. This is why he's not showing his love to you properly. He feels the love, there is that sense of connection and his desire for change and progress. Yes, that's all very good and all very positive. But it hasn't actually moved on to the level whereby, you know, things are actually super duper and perfect, despite the fact there is a strong desire for change on your side of things. The Death card often symbolizes transformation as well, we know. So, transformation, I'm trying to make sure that that can actually occur. Right now, you're still going to feel a bit tense about this. But remember to breathe. Rome wasn't built in a day. This relationship won't get off the ground straight away. Very good sense of family and community within your short-term future associated with it. Good feeling of loving energy and a good sense of mutual agreement. His family's a bit difficult. And when you meet them, you'll have to accept the fact that his family can be a bit difficult. And speaking of difficulties and interruptions, we have another one of the feline kind. So there you go. And hasn't he got big recently? Never work with children and animals, okay? Never work with children and animals. Okay, further progression on from there, I would say very good indeed, with a massive emphasis on stability. So essentially this is someone who's going to be in your life for a fair time to come. So at this stage, don't worry about it. Make sure you can get that foundation built up and built nice and strong, and then everything else will come into play, okay? I got another 1 or 2 in the backlog, so I'm going to probably go on to those in the next tarot show. I don't know whether I'm going to start doing this bi-weekly or not. Depends upon how many requests you get through. Now, how you send a request to is via a private message, not in the comments section. Okay? Not via video response. It's got to be a private message onto the YouTube user account, Nick Dutch Tarot. Now, I know this video is going to go out on a few other video services, such as blip.tv, as well as Vimeo, and God alone knows what else, because I just like upload things and press a few buttons and boom, it goes out there. So you'll have to find your way to the YouTube channel, Nick Dutch Tarot, and then make sure you've got an account, log in, and all the rest of that, and basically everything's going to go according to plan, and I'll be able to add you to the rota. And if you want a cat who's as cute as mine, hands off. I do apologise for any feline interruptions during this show. No cats were harmed during the production of this video. I bid everyone an absolutely fantastic year of 2011. I bid you good fortune. I bid you God bless. I say send your request through to me via private message on this YouTube account. And hey, what else can I add? Remember, a tarot reading, a psychic reading, a clairvoyant medium, a mediumship reading, and all the rest of that is legally billed as an entertainment service for good reasons. However, so many people do claim to get therapeutic benefit from these things, and so therefore there is a reason for it. And you can just see this as being like your moments of calm contemplation outside of your busy life of doing whatever it is you do. Okay? So I'll speak to you in a while. Keep tuned, subscribe, rate, comment, share, favorites, and all the rest of that jazz. And we'll speak again very soon.